Hey YouTube, it is Thanksgiving Day. Today I'm spending the day with my family, my beautiful wife, my beautiful daughter Madeline. It's coronavirus Thanksgiving, so our other children aren't here, but for them and for anybody else that may want to know, I'm going to make the best holiday green beans you've ever had. I'm not the only person that says that. I used to be a chef at Arkansas State University, and when I was going to college there, and everybody loved the green beans there, especially Ron White, famous comedian guy. He came, did a show there. We had to cater his meal. So, anyway, let's get right to it.
Ron White's favorite green beans, he said.
Yeah, and you thought he just liked tater salad. Anyway, I've got a big pot here, just a big stock pot. Put it on my electric stove. We don't have anything real fancy here, but I'm going to turn that up on high heat. The ingredients you're going to need: green beans.
Bacon.
You can use canned if you want. I'm using canned because, hey, there's a pandemic going on. So I've got canned green beans. I've got some whole and some sliced potatoes. I have Weiler's beef granules. Very important. Use Weiler's. Don't get the cheap ones. I use the beef powder. They used to be granules, but now it's powder because they, when you put it in the water, it's not like the little cubes. It goes very quickly and it mixes with the water very quickly. I've got some garlic powder and some salt. And I've got one full package of bacon, and as you can see, I've sliced that up into about 1-inch squares. So we're getting our pot heated up. We're going to take our bacon, nice sizzle. We're going to put it right there into our pot. We're just going to kind of stir it around a little.
And I am coming over here so I don't get bacon to go all over me. Bacon grease. Actually.
So these are the green beans. I'm going to turn that back down to about half, about medium-high temp. Once I get a good sizzle on the bacon, then I'll go ahead. Now, for this bacon, I do not want it to be cooked completely and totally. I want it to be kind of a chewy texture almost. Because once you put fried bacon into green beans, some people will try to make southern green beans, and when they put that in there, it just crumbles and falls apart like bacon bits, and it's not a great feeling to the palate in my opinion. So anyway, we're going to start that frying up, and while we do that, I have 4 tablespoons of the Weiler's beef granules. 4 tablespoons, and I've got that in 2 cups of water. I'm going to hit that in the microwave. I'm going to put that in for 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay.
2 minutes in the microwave.
I'm also being taught how to make his famous green beans.
Now, what makes these green beans different than any other green beans? I'm not a huge green bean casserole fan because I don't like cream of anything. Cream of chicken, cream of mushroom. I know I'll probably hear it in the comments, and that's okay. I'm just not a big cream of mushroom guy, so I mean, a lot of people love the green bean casserole. It's not my thing. So, I had to come up with some way of making green beans. Having 6 kids, I like the taste of the southern green beans that have been cooked all day in bacon and everything. But when I would get home from work, my wife would get home from work, kids home from school, I didn't have time to cook them all day. So that's where the beef granules come in. They're going to give our green beans that nice beefy flavor that we want without having to cook them all day long. There are a couple of little secrets here, but we'll go through that. All right, so I pretty much got my bacon where I want it to be. It doesn't take very long. I'll break out some and show you. I'll probably let it cook for a couple minutes longer. You don't have to get any special kind of bologna. You don't have to get any special kind of bacon. I use Bar S. which is a local brand here in Arkansas, but it's pretty cheap. Excuse me, bird.
Sorry.
All right, so here's kind of what the bacon looks like. You can see it's getting sort of translucent. It's also going to cook as we're continuing to cook the green beans, so it's not going to be raw. That's about where I want to leave it right now, because I don't want it to overcook. All right, turn my heat off. Move some of that bacon to the side. And while I've got a good hot pan, I want to use the garlic powder. I want to bloom that garlic powder, so I'm going to drop that in there.
What about the salt?
Not yet.
Okay.
So I'm going to let that garlic powder start to bloom. Now, I generally use a can of green beans per person. So then I add a couple of cans of the whole potatoes. That's what I have here. I just put them in a colander and drain everything in the sink.
So about 4? 5.
I have used 6 cans of green beans for this outing, because I always make a little extra. And I'm going to pour those and the potatoes, whole and sliced. I got 1 can of whole, 1 can of sliced, right into the pot with the bacon. And with the garlic powder. I'm just going to kind of mix those around. I'm going to turn my heat back up to about 3/4 temp. Not completely high, but not completely low. And then go to the microwave. Pull out my beef broth. And this is going to be a heavier beef broth than it says on the directions. Like I said, I used 4 tablespoons to 2 cups of water. And then I'm just going to pour it directly in. And like I say, what this is going to do is that's going to give you that nice, wonderful, meaty flavor that the old Southern style green beans would get from the cooking all day. But we don't have time to cook all day. All right, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add more water just to cover the green beans. You say, hey man, why didn't you just put more water in the first place? Well, it's because my cup here, measuring cup, holds 2 cups. So I'll just add that just to cover the green beans, or right up to the top edge. And then I will start to mix it all up again. Now, we've pretty much got everything that we need, with the exception of a little bit of salt, some pepper. Now, you may like more garlic powder than what I put. I put a tablespoon. I'll taste it as I go through. If you want more, put a little more. If you don't like it that much, put a little less. But these green beans are just like anything else. These are a stewed green bean. They're not steamed or baked or any of that, so they're stewed. So it's going to be kind of like when you're making soup. And when you make soup, if the broth tastes good, everything else is going to taste good. So what you want to do, how's my soup, Bird, when I make it?
Really, really, really good.
It is good. So I don't look like I would have been a cook or a chef, but I was. So anyway, we're going to bring this up to a rolling boil.
What about the salt again?
Not yet.
Oh man.
No salt yet. So we're going to bring this up to a rolling boil, and we're going to boil it for about 15 minutes. So it's going to be hot and boiling for 15 minutes, and what that's going to do is that's going to soften the green beans, it's going to break them down, and it's going to let them absorb all of that garlic powder that we've got in there, the bacon flavor, and especially that beef flavor. That way when you take a bite of the potato or you take a bite of the green bean, it is going to taste
amazing,
like that meaty, beefy flavor. And that's what you want in southern green beans. Nobody ever made southern green beans that tasted like green beans. You know, we used to serve steamed green beans for people that just like the flavor of green beans, but even people that don't like vegetables like these. It's basically a meal in itself. And so we're just going to boil it for 15 minutes, and then we're going to leave it to cook a little bit, and we're just going to add some salt, some pepper, More garlic powder if we decide we need it, until we've got what we want it to taste like. So really, it comes down to your taste and how you like it. More or less salt, more or less garlic powder. So anyway, I'm going to cut it off for a few minutes, and then we'll come back when everything starts getting closer to done.